This is Hannah reporting for the Moodie Davitt Report at the TFWA Asia Pacific Singapore show. I'm here at this very colorful and vibrant William Grant and Sons stand with David Wilson, who's going to talk to us about the latest whiskey offering. So David, hi, we've got some excellent bottles right behind me here. Can you tell us a little bit about this new Balvenie one we've got over there?
Well, hi. Listen, first of all, could I say it's just great to be back here at TFWA in Singapore. We've had an amazing week and getting to the end of the week now, and probably shows, but we've had an amazing week meeting so many of our partners in the industry and so many friends that are back here this year, which is great news. And yeah, just talking about what William Grant and Sons has been talking about this week. As you rightly say, we have been talking first of all about our wonderful Balvenie. I'm sure everyone is very familiar with Balvenie, but we were delighted this year to launch 2 exclusive expressions for the travel retail channel. And we have here this wonderful 15-year-old Balvenie, which has been finished in Madeira casks, and the 18-year-old Balvenie, which is actually finished in Pedro Jimenez casks. So thoroughly recommend anyone that hasn't, tried a whiskey or loves their whiskey, either or. These are wonderful whiskies to enjoy, and actually both of these whiskies are brilliant, for the Asia palate in particular, because of their sherry influence and they're I think just absolutely delicious. So we've been talking about that. We've also been talking about our premium luxury Glenfiddich range, and this is our Grand series, and it's represented, by our Grand Reserva, which is this 21-year-old whiskey here, our Grand Cru, which is at 23, and we have our Grand Couronne, which is at 26. So these have been there's been a huge amount of interest. These aren't new per se, but they have been extremely popular out in this region, especially with PLC consumers, and they really epitomise what Glenfiddich, stands for. Beautiful whiskies, extremely elegant, and very bespoke sort of finishing and beautiful packaging.
So obviously it's been a long time since everybody has been back in Singapore in this force, in this style. I think the last time was pre-pandemic in 2019. So I wonder if you have any insights on this recovery of the spirits category in this region, and what role do you think a company like William Grant and Sons plays in driving that recovery?
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, listen, it's just fantastic to be back, and I think you're right. It's 2019. I think since the last time we were here, and to be able to be back, to be able to have our stand, looking so good and so fresh, is great news. Listen, I mean, this week I think just shows how strongly this region has come back since the pandemic. I mean, it's been a tough time for all of us, and it still is a bit of a bumpy road to recovery if we're honest. But it's great to be back. We've had a huge interest this week. I think the region is opening up far faster than we anticipated. We're probably at least 12, if not 18 months ahead of what some of us expected, it to be. And I think, but that's all good news. So, we've got challenges, but they're all good challenges. What we're seeing is that the travel retail channel is coming back extremely fast. And it's coming back with stronger spend as well. So consumers are coming back, and a bit of revenge spending, but actually I think they're just delighted to come back and actually buy the amazing brands that they can buy and expressions they can buy through travel retail. So I think it's a really positive story. I think it's very, very optimistic, for the future. I think from a role William Grant and Sons plays, we obviously are delighted. We feel very responsible as leaders in the single malt whiskey, Scotch whiskey market, with the mighty Glenfiddich, and obviously the beautiful Balvenie. So we feel very responsible to come back here to represent, the travel retail channel, to represent our wonderful company William Grant and Sons, to represent our wonderful brands, and I think we're really wanting to bring something new to the channel, new conversations, new references, and new energy for a channel that's coming back very, very, very strongly. So.
And one of the most exciting things that happened to travel retail in 2023 is obviously the return of Chinese travelers. So how do you feel about that? What is William Grant and Sons doing to kind of cater to this demographic that we've been waiting for so long?
Yeah, listen, sure. I think the PRC consumer is hugely important to this channel. They love travel, they love brands, and they love whiskey. So let's be honest. So I think we've been waiting a long time. I think they're not all quite back yet, but I think we've had the mighty Hainan open up, which I think is building from strength to strength, and I think that's brought a brand new and important dynamic to the region, and I think that's going to be additional to mainland China as that comes back strongly, and I think what you see with that, there's such a strong interest in the category, and such a passion and such a curiosity for single malt Scotch whisky. We're just super excited to be able to re-engage. So I mean, I've been in China recently. Was in Beijing, a couple of months ago, and it was just great to be back, to be honest. And things are definitely opening up. We've been speaking to many of our partners, this week, from the region, and really strong conversations. So very, very positive, I think.
One of the things that is a key driver specifically for the whiskey category in travel retail, but also across the board, are travel retail exclusive collections. And Glenfiddich actually released one of the most vibrant, colorful, exciting travel retail exclusive whiskey collections last year, which I had the pleasure of reporting, and that is the Perpetual collection. So the Perpetual collection is a range of 4 different whiskeys that were made with a unique Solera vat process. So they're always in motion, and that really works well with your tagline, which is the whiskey that never sits still. So maybe, David, you can tell us a little bit more about the 4 beautiful bottles in this range.
That's fantastic. You might be able to do a better job for me. Oh yeah. So no, very encouraging. No, listen, absolutely. So we were obviously very keen to launch an exclusive range of whiskies for Glenfiddich, for the travel retail sector, I think, and we were really keen to be disruptive with what we did, and really sort of bring excitement, curiosity, and just amazing liquids for people to try and engage in, and we've had tremendous reactions from it. So I mean, quite simply, where you have here is 4 expressions that are very clearly differentiated by the liquid and the maturation process. And we start with our absolute classic, Glenfiddich in vat 1, beautifully elegant, beautifully smooth, classic Speyside, and just absolutely delicious. And that's a great entry point for any budding whiskey consumer, whether they are an enthusiast or new into the category. Very accessible, and almost drink it very, very, very happily at any time of or occasion. We then moved to our vat 2, which actually took the classic Glenfiddich but actually gave it more of a sherry-esque maturation. So you start looking at a whiskey that's more mellow, more complex, more chocolate, more rich, more fruity, and it suddenly becomes a very different explosion on the palate, although still classically Glenfiddich at its base. And then we wanted to bring something more for the connoisseur, and so many of our connoisseurs have absolutely loved the Glenfiddich 15-year-old. It's based on the Solera maturation process that we have in Scotland, up in Duffdown at the distillery. And that's, to your point, the whiskey that never stands still, because the Solera process allows the whiskey constantly to be maturing through the vat, hence the name vat 3. Each of these whiskies have their own individual vats back at the distillery. So we have the 15-year-old, and that's classic for the connoisseur. It's non-chill filtered, it's got a highest ABV strength, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and probably my favourite Glenfiddich. So highly recommended. But you cannot, it'd be remiss not to have the 18-year-old, which is just so elegant and luxurious, and I think is in every serious whiskey connoisseur's collection and cabinet. So the 18-year-old just gives you that absolute pure elegance of the additional years of maturation, and is also extremely delicious. So what you have for the whiskey connoisseur, or consumers passionate about whiskey, is a very clearly signposted range of four whiskies that they can actually collect or buy together and just enjoy a different whiskey with a different taste profile for a different occasion, to enjoy themselves, share with friends, and celebrate.
And thanks for that amazing introduction to this collection. I think that it's a very, very big statement from William Grant and Sons to release this amazing collection as a travel retail exclusive. So, and let's talk about that for a sec. How important do you think are releasing travel retail exclusives to your business, and how important is that to engaging with this whiskey customer, particularly in Asia Pacific?
Yeah, listen, it's a good question. I think exclusive ranges within the channel are really important. I think, as a consumers want to travel and they want to find new expressions, but they want to find new expressions that come from brands that they recognize. So, I think Glenfiddich signposts them into something that they absolutely respect, and the reputation and the equity of the brand sits strong. But to be able to buy something they can only buy in the channel, I think is just really important, and it allows them to buy it for themselves to enjoy, or to buy it as a gift, which is huge occasion shopping, in the channel. And I think increasingly it also means that the value proposition within the channel strengthens for everyone, and it's not purely done on a price proposition and trying to compare with what they can get, in their local shop back home. So they can buy something unique, that's something that's beautiful, that's something that they can actually offer to friends and family, or just enjoy themselves.
And speaking about that as well, another thing that increases the value proposition of travel retail are blockbuster activations. And I don't think there was a bigger blockbuster than the Perpetual collection pop-up campaign, which started here in Singapore, a Changi first pop-up, and moved all over the world. Can you tell us a little bit about that, David?
Well, what did I say? I think the activation, if you saw it, spoke for itself. It was. Listen, I think we were really delighted. The colours, and I don't know if you can see them, but the beautiful colours we've got for Perpetual. One of the thoughts behind it was how will those colours really magnify and electrify that activation? And boy, do they do that! And we created a whole wall of movement where your consumer can walk past it, and the whole wall of movement of colour swirls around and demonstrates the whiskey that never stands still, and that perpetual motion. So it's just been great to do. I mean, it just makes single malt whiskey really dynamic, modern, brings out that authenticity and modernity together, and just provides energy back into the channel. So the activations have been really, really fun to do, and they've been incredibly successful as well.
So David, thank you for that amazing introduction to this travel retail exclusive collection. I have one last final question. Do you have a message to say to the industry today?
Thanks, Anna. Well, listen, what can I say? I mean, just brilliant to be back. Travel retail is back, everyone. The world is opening up. We can all get free to enjoy our travel again, see the world, visit, friends, families, and get new experiences, and just enjoy your travel. Enjoy the wonderful brands that are represented through the travel retail channel, and the time you have to enjoy finding out more about them and hopefully purchasing them. And please enjoy a Glenfiddich or a Balvenie or a Monkey Shoulder or a Hendricks if you happen to be near any of our wonderful stands and staff. But cheers everyone, Slanjivar, and travel safe.